The United States of America says it's quite important to unveil its strategy with sub-Saharan Africa in South Africa, given the fact that the two nations share a strong bond and both have vibrant democracies. It says this blueprint reflects Africa's complexities, diversity and influence in the international arena.
One of the focuses on what we will do with African nations and peoples, not for African nations and peoples. Put simply, the United States and African nations can't achieve any of our shared priorities, whether that's recovering from the pandemic, creating broad-based economic opportunity, addressing the climate crisis, expanding energy access, revitalizing democracies, strengthening the free and open international order. We can't do any of that if we don't work together as equal partners. So today, I'd like to focus on 4 priorities that we believe we have to tackle together, which are at the heart of the U.S. strategy for sub-Saharan Africa. First, we will foster openness, by which we mean the capacity of individuals, communities and nations to choose their own path.
America's top diplomat says Washington, D.C. has not desired to interfere with African countries' sovereignty.
Too often, African nations have been treated as instruments of other nations' progress rather than the authors of their own. Time and again, they have been told to pick a side in great power contests that feel far removed from daily struggles of their people. The United States will not dictate Africa's choices.
International Relations and Cooperation Minister Naledi Pandor had this advice for her counterpart.
When you approach a strategy, you need to think very carefully about the kinds of tactics that you would utilize. So the overall strategic intention might be to advocate for democracy and support its presence on the African continent. However, if your tactic is to approach African countries and say that, listen, you must be democratic, and use our model, it works. I think it's bound to lead to some failure. I do agree with Tony that all countries and peoples deserve the right to exercise their civil and political rights.
On the thorny issue in Ukraine, Minister Pandor says South Africa abhors war.
One thing I definitely dislike is being told either you choose this or else. When a minister speaks to me like that, which Secretary Blinken has never done, but some have, I definitely will not be bullied in that way, nor would I expect any other African country worth its salt to agree to be treated. Russia, I've tried so many times to explain to so many people. Russia is a very negligible economic partner for South Africa. Our trade with Russia is less than $4 billion annually, compared to the $20 billion that I referred to earlier with respect to the United States. So this fear that we exist under some push is, I think, a totally really unfounded belief in the relationship that we have with either country. And we've been quite clear in saying we really advocate for peace because we knew what would happen. We knew there'd be destruction, there'd be death, there'd be desolation. And that's what we're all seeing. And what we've always asked is, where is this going to end? Let us make every effort to get peace.
Meanwhile, the U.S. says its strategy in the continent will place emphasis on restoration of democratic values, respect for human rights, climate change, and back just energy transition. The Washington, D.C. has made it patently clear that it wants to forge partnership with sub-Saharan Africa in so many aspects. But it does emphasize that democracy should be working, and it's willing to be a partner for the continent. Khalihle Khumalo, SABC News, Pretoria.